Hello everyone, today we will be learning how to create this SITH lightning effect in After Effects. Alright, so I'm just going to launch After Effects here. I am running Adobe After Effects 2021. Alright, so I'm just going to create a new project. I'm going to call this project, create a new composition. I'm just going to call this composition SITH. I'm just going to call this composition lightning. Alright, we got to keep a little organized here. And I'm going to save this project. Oh, okay, I'm going to save this project as SITH lightning. Alright, so first off, you're just going to want to make a new cell. Just try to make it black. Just press OK. And we are going to search for the lightning effect in our effects and controls tab. Alright, and here we go. As we can see, we have this basic lightning effect. Our final effect will probably be a little brighter and bigger, so we're just gonna do that now. So let me just find a place where I can see alright, the basic lightning. I like to keep my segments, it depends on how much distance you have. The longer distance, you might want to have more of these. But I don't have too long of a distance in my footage, which we will be dropping in shortly, so I'm just going to keep it at this. Alright, amplitude, you can adjust that. A lot of this is just what you want. Personally, I like a decent amount of detail in my lightning. Just mess around with these settings. In the end, I came up with this. Alright, so these are my final settings here on the left. I just have a pretty basic effect. Now, what I'm going to do here, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to turn this into screen right here in the blending overlay. Press F4. Now, obviously, I don't need to because, I have it already, but just press F4 if you don't see that there. Okay, now I'm going to get the glow effect and just plop that on. Now, that doesn't do much, you can't visibly much, if we see here, it makes a little more glow, obviously. But we want that, so you can mess around with these glow settings. I like glow a lot. The glow is the magic, the magic effect to everything. You just want to add glow to everything. That's my secret. Just mess around with these settings. A lot of this is just your preference and what works in your scene. And this just worked for me, so just whatever works in your scene. Alright, I think I've come up with something I like. And I'm actually going to switch to a red color tone for this, because I want, like SITH sort of lightning, so I'm going to go for a red. Alright, so you're going to want to left click on the black solid we created, pre-compose it, just name it lightning, I guess, lightning red. I'll just call it lightning red. Alright, and we're going to keep this for now, just keep it here, just save it for later. Alright, so we're just going to want to import our footage into our project, so I will drag like so, and just, put it below our stuff, scale it to be the appropriate dimensions of the composition, and we got it. Alright, so we now have it imported into our footage, but we are going to want to sort of wait until our hand actually raises up, so we are going to just skip to about, why did I take so long? Right here is where I want my lightning to start, and we are going to put our start and end points. So, obviously, we're going to have to do this for each finger, unfortunately. Yeah, prepare for some suffering, because we're actually going to have to, you can either track it or keyframe it. I like keyframing because that's more accurate. It is more time consuming though, so if you're on a rush, you might want to try tracking it. I'm not very good at tracking. If you're good at tracking or you want to give it a go, keep an eye out for that tutorial. Anyways, alright, so we got our hand here, and we are going to want to keyframe our start point and our end point. I don't think we'll be using our end point, but, we might. Alright, and then you're just going to want to go frame by frame, and you're just going to want to place it. And if your hand doesn't move, just move it a little so that it, doesn't automatically move. Alright, so once we're done keyframing our start and end points, prepare for some more suffering, because we're going to do that again with every single finger on the human hand. You got that right. Alright, now I planned ahead here and sort of got lucky, because we are going to want to duplicate our lightning, but as we can see, it's the exact same thing. Now, one thing you can do if your clips aren't like mine is you can just go in here and you can, make the black solid last longer. It's perfectly fine. You can do that. But since my black solid ended up being much longer than my actual footage, which was only a second, I can end up just what I can end up doing is I can duplicate this, and then I can just offset it until it lines up, and we pretty much have a duplicate lightning effect. And what we're going to want to do now is re-keyframe the start and end points. So just make sure you have your layer selected here, and just unkeyframe it and keyframe it again. The endpoint really does not matter. If you have an endpoint you want to keyframe, you want to extract it to something specific, go ahead and do that, because that's extra cool. But I don't, so I'm just going to keep mine the way it is. Alright, and I'm just going to do the same thing for the other fingers. Alright, so I have now finished my lightning effect. Oh, no, never mind. Give me a second. Alright, so I've now finished my lightning effect, and this is what it looks like so far, just play it back here. We can sort of see that, it sort of just appears, alright? And as cool as that is, it's very cool, don't get me wrong. I think what would make it cooler is if we had a frame or two where the lightning was traveling from this part, from the tip of the hands to the middle to the end. So what I want to do is keyframe the endpoints, which, I know I said that the endpoints weren't important, but looking back on it, I was wrong. Alright, so we are going to start here, or close to the finger, depending on your design choices. Obviously, this is all up to you and your production. This is just my way of doing it. None of this, you really don't, need to follow the tutorial. I don't recommend it. Alright, so, then the next frame, and then the next frame should be when it reaches its destination. And we'll do the same for the others. Alright, so now when we play this back, we have our grow effects. Oh, that looks so good, yes. And, oh yeah. Alright, right there, it sort of pulses out right out of my fingers. It's exactly what we want to go for. I actually missed one. Give me a hot second here. Alright, so now that we are done, we have a pretty nice, if I do say so myself, as you can see, it grows out of the fingers. That's sort of what we want. Now, depending on what kind of how intense you want it to be, you might want it to only happen in 2 frames. That's what I was considering. Whatever your shot is, whatever you think looks best, just experiment around with it. I personally like the grow effect because, it's visible to the audience, it feels good in my eyes, but obviously you all can make your own creative choices. Now, next step is to sort of give this the bright look, because lightning is pretty bright, if I do say so myself. Now, I haven't been struck by lightning, but I've seen it, and it's pretty bright from what I see. It lights everything up, and that's sort of what we want it to do here. Now, we're going to sort of start with that by just adjusting the glow on this. We can try duplicating it, but then again, when you duplicate it, you have to mess around with the radius. All right, you can have, you don't want it, too small of a radius, and you don't want this either. So, you just mess with it around, just turn the intensity down a bit. Just mess around with it. Just see what works for you. One thing that I found that worked is when I duplicated a glow, I would just change the colors a bit to like the red. You sort of want the white also to glow. So that's what I did with this one. And yeah, I before and after, you can sort of see the radius. Might want to turn that intensity down to around 3. the radius a lot, and you've got something that looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. We really have that sense of like, really bright. Now, yeah, I think that's pretty good for a base glow, but another thing that we want to happen is, like, you know, obviously a camera, you know, would be blinded by this, and of course this is a pretty cheap effect. There are a ton of other ways that you can make this better, but I got it, this effect off, this overlay really, off of a website called Production Crate. You can find a ton of free VFX there, as well as if you know, do their premium subscription, you get some other stuff, but, you know, I'm not sponsored or anything, so we're just gonna move on. All right, now I got this crystal oh gosh, okay, so I got this crystal optic preset, and I'm gonna bring that to the top here. I'm going to drag it to where I want it, and obviously it has black, so we're just going to apply the screen effect. Screen removes any black, and if we play that back, you can sort of see it here. It adds like this anamorphic prism. Now I like this anamorphic prism, but I'm going to need to tint it red, because red is sort of the color of our lightning. Now, depending on the color of your lightning, you know, you may want to change any optical effects that you add, but for me, this works. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with this. All right, now I might want to just make that. There we go. You gotta adjust things to your liking. Now, if we isolate this layer, we can see that how, like, what it actually looks like. It just adds like this anamorphic, like, I don't know how else to, you know, but yeah. So essentially, you can see that it abruptly comes in here, and some of you may have this problem, some of you might not. But I just like to keyframe the opacity on this, so just sort of 3 or 4 frames in, bring it up to 100. And as we can see, it fades in nicely, or semi-nicely. You know, you might want to make it a little longer, so it's not as abrupt, but I don't think too many people are going to notice it. So yeah, and we can see that as the lightning comes in, you know, it really just, right here especially, it really adds to that lightning, in my opinion. Of course, you all can make your own creative choices where you see fit. Now another thing I would like to add, because of how bright this is, just to emphasize it, is like a dust layer on the camera, like, you know, like you would get dirt on the lens. So, you know, we have this little graphic here, and we're just gonna scale this up. You can find these in a lot of places. I got this from someone on YouTube, but yeah, you can find these all over the place. And I'm gonna apply the screen effect. That's a very dirty screen, so, you know, another thing that you could do is just bring the opacity down a lot. It's not too much, but, you know, and then another thing you can do is, we don't really want you to be able to see them until sort of the lightning hits, because it just really emphasizes that it's so bright that it's like causing all this dust and stuff to appear, because you can see, you know, you can sort of see like the layer that it adds, I guess. We're going to keyframe this opacity here, just bring it down to 0 at first, and then as the lightning sort of reaches here, we want to bring that really up, you know, just to emphasize it, not too much, but not too little. And maybe we can apply a tint effect, but once again, you know, copy and paste it here just to make it easier. But another thing that you want to do when you're doing this, just to, you know, make sure that you're not overdoing it, is to just bring this amount of tint down, and we're going to isolate this layer. You can see that it's completely red now. Just the amount of tint should be just, you know, wherever you see fit, but around there is what worked for me in this shot specifically. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. If we play this back here, I'm just gonna pre-render, well, not pre-render, but I'm gonna play this back. And if we play this back here, we can see we have a very nice lightning effect with the anamorphic and everything. This is a very short clip. You can have long clips, you can have short clips. This was just a quick tutorial for me to do. And now on to the bonus tip. All right, so our bonus tip. And this is not necessary, but especially if you're on a time crunch, you know, this isn't something you want to do if you're on a time crunch. But, you know, we're just gonna create a new red solid, create just like a rough mask of where our person was, maybe, or whatever you really want to get glowed on. But essentially what this red solid is going to be is just like because, you know, when something bright happens, you know, it casts like a glow on, you know, on people or anything that, you know, is being affected by it. This is not necessary by any means, and, you know, my method of doing this might not be the best. I'm sure there are other tutorials, but this is just a quick bonus that I wanted to add in because I felt it was necessary. And you can make this very rough. It does not have to be exact at all, unless, you know, you want it to be. and you want your glow to be specific, in which case you can do that by all means. No one is stopping you. Alright, now we want this glow to sort of appear, you know, so we're going to keyframe the opacity eventually, but for now I just want to show you the gist of it. Is we go into masks, we're going to just keep it where it is, but you know, just turn the feather up, I'd say, maybe the opacity down a bit. This is just to sort of add an extra layer of like glow and stuff to our person here, which is me. If we just deselect that for a moment, just to appreciate it, we can see, you know, it's a very rough, and in fact, I'm gonna bring the opacity down because that's terrible. I don't know why it looks so bad. And yeah, you can just keyframe this mask path here. Just press this little keyframe icon and just have it move with your person. So just, you know, if you want it to do automatically just to be very, very rough, yeah, that's sort of how you would do that. Once again, this is a very rough mask. I'm actually gonna still bring down this opacity. Maybe keep that up, but then like turn up the feather a bit. But just so that we get that nice glow, you can see that it's really in my eyes and in my face, I guess. You know, emphasizes my evil, because obviously, you know, this is a very evil Sith lightning effect. Or you can make it a light side effect, you know, make it orange like Kit Fisto, or, you know, just make it your own. Make it your own. Whatever you want in the end is what will happen. Alright, now before I go, I'm just going to keyframe this opacity. Just go into your transform tab as per usual and drag this down until we sort of get that lightning really coming about here. So, oh yeah, we want to make sure this is 0 starting out. And as we can see, that fades in very nicely with the lightning. Beautiful, beautiful. There are a ton of ways you can refine this effect, but we unfortunately do not have that kind of time. Please, you know, if you like this tutorial, subscribe to this channel and also my main channel. You know, my main channel is where I post all this stuff, you know, and a bunch of, along with other stuff, you know. If you like this type of content, definitely subscribe to that, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time.